Welcome back to Prep and today is the third day of solving RCs. And the genre for today is philosophical. It has some ethical sense into the picture. And let's get started. The level I'm going to say is going to be moderate, not so difficult, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So let's just begin. Physicians have disagreed for years about whether they should be involved in capital punishment of convicted criminals. So, for a long time, there has been a debate within the medical community if the doctors should participate in carrying out the death penalties or not. Some physicians vigorously support participation, often arguing that organs should first be removed for transplantation. Okay, so a group of doctors or some physicians, they believe that they should take part in these executions, especially because it presents them an opportunity for transplantation, right? So this view justifies their involvement as potentially life-saving. So one frequent objection to capital punishment is that sometimes techniques don't work the first time, resulting in lingering painful deaths. So, a major criticism of the capital punishment is the fact that execution methods, like, if doctors are going to be involved in capital punishment, they are going to use lethal injections, they are going to use some very painful methods to carry out properly. And that might cause the person to suffer a very prolonged, very painful death. And it can be inhuman, it can be unacceptable. If physicians would guarantee that a patient would not die in such a way, they would gain the trust of some patients. So, if doctors were involved and they can ensure that these executions were painless, if they are done efficiently, people might begin to trust their profession even more. It shows that physicians are committed to minimizing suffering, even for those sentenced to death. So, very unique passage. It talks about capital punishment and the role of medical professionals in this, whether or not they should be involved in it, whether or not they should be involved in the convicted criminals, right? And some say they should participate because that gives them opportunity for transplantation, but there is also an objection because sometimes it leads to very painful deaths. So, if you can guarantee that a patient would not die in a very painful manner, maybe they can gain trust of some patients, right? Now, for any kind of killing, some physicians favor the creation of designated killer technicians. This would free physicians from the taint of killing, keeping their image pure and their hands clean. See, doctors are known for saving lives. They are not the ones who should be involved in capital punishment or something like that. It is a common view. They want to keep their image pure. They want to keep their hands clean. So there is a kind of killing that physicians favor, that is a creation of designated killer technicians. And when you use this, the physicians will be free from, from the guilt of or the taint of killing. And what is this designated killer technicians is to avoid direct involvement. Some doctors they suggest hiring trained technicians whose sole jobs would be to perform those executions, to perform those killings, so that doctors can stay focused on the transplantation part, on the healing part, and these technicians would actually do the execution part. But is this workable? Insofar as the designated killers are mere technicians, what prevents them from abusing their role? So, the author questions if this idea is really feasible or not, right? Because if these technicians are just trained workers without any ethical framework of being a doctor, how do they ensure that they won't misuse their authority or they'll become very emotionally numb to killing? How do you do that? Wouldn't it be better for physicians torn between saving life and honoring patients' wishes to be reluctant killers? Wouldn't physicians know best what to do if something went wrong? Very important line. So, so the author says that it's more appropriate for doctors who understand the value of life and are deeply conflicted about killing to be the ones who carry out all the execution part. Their reluctance could make them more compassionate, more ethical, and more careful, and they know if something goes wrong, what they should do. However, these technicians who do not have ethical framework of being a doctor, they can abuse their role, right? So it's better for physicians to do instead of designated killers or designated killer technicians. So, many physicians, paradoxically, ensure mercy killing but refuse to do it themselves. So many, uh, physicians, uh, there is a contradiction here. A lot of doctors do agree with the idea of killing to relieve suffering, but personally, they don't want to be the one who actually perform it. You know, nor do they think other physicians should kill. They do not just avoid performing it themselves, but they also think no doctor should be involved in killing it. So there is a strong separation here. Physicians who support mercy killing, but who don't want physicians to kill, commonly emphasize the importance of maintaining the role of the physician as a healer and preserver of life. So the doctors believe that the identity and purpose of being a doctor is to cure illness and prolong life. If doctors begin killing, even with good intentions, even with intentions like, suffering is bad for this patient, even with good intentions, they risk losing their core identity of being preserver, of being a healer. Right. One poll of American physicians showed 60% favoring euthanasia, but less than half would perform it themselves. So, in a survey, majority of American doctors said that they support euthanasia and theory. However, less than half were willing to be directly involved in that, showing a disconnect between the belief and the action because it's very difficult to perform. It's very risky. You're killing someone. Even to save them, you're killing someone. So there is a huge contradiction. To such, physicians taking life radically conflicts with the symbolic image of physicians. Such conflict, they say, destroy trust in physicians. So they think that killing, even if it is justified, goes completely against the public's idea of doctors being the saviors, being the protectors of life. And they argue that if doctors are seen as potential killers, even in certain cases, people may stop trusting them, fearing them, and they might not even preserve their own, they might not even go to the doctors. So they want to keep their image clean. Discussing this problem of designated killers in 1988, New England Journal of Medicine editor Marcia Angel called the idea an unsavory prospect. She suggested that mercy killing may one day be the endpoint of continuum of good patient care. So this Marcia, editor in this medicine thing, so she rejected the idea of designated killers as morally distasteful and very ethically uncomfortable, right? And she suggested that euthanasia could eventually be seen as compassionate conclusion to care, especially in the cases of terminal suffering. She asked how any physician can excuse himself from this most basic notion. Dr. Angel concluded perhaps also those who favored legalizing euthanasia would not perform it should rethink their position. Okay, so here she challenges doctors. She asks them, if you truly believe in reducing suffering as part of patient care, how can you not give them the peace? How can you exclude yourself from the final act of ensuring peace in their life? She ends up saying that doctors who agree with this euthanasia legally but refuse to participate should reconsider whether their stance is, you know, correct or not. They should actually reconsider the stance if it is consistent or not. Dr. Angel implies that it is hypocritical to favor mercy killing but would be unwilling to perform it. Is this true? So she says that if your goal is to prevent suffering, if you favor mercy killing is just, you know, you're just taking suffering out of the person that is actually going to bring a lot of peace to that patient. If you favor the mercy killing but you're unwilling to perform the final act, then it is very hypocritical of you to do it. You know, there are at least two schools of thought. Some thinkers believe that if one favors, say, meat eating, one should be willing to kill and prepare animals for eating oneself. So, here the philosophical viewpoint in this is that one viewpoint says that you should be ready to carry out the act that you support. For example, if you eat meat, you should be okay killing animals. You should not delegate those tasks to someone else. Others conclude differently, seeing no reason why each person who favors a position must be willing to implement it. And the opposite view here says that a person can support a cause, a person can support a policy, and doesn't mean he should do it himself. You can believe in principle, but leave the execution part to someone else. Must you be willing to kill a serial murderer to favor capital punishment? So the author asks whether supporting capital punishment requires being ready to physically execute someone yourself. It's a question, it's challenging your first viewpoint. Critics says one must. So some critics says that, if you support death penalty, you should also be prepared to do that act yourself. Being face to face with one's victims creates basic moral forms, and such moral restraints are important to respect. So, when you're physically present with the person you're harming, your natural ethics kicks in. There is an ethical barrier that will prevent the cruelty, right? In Stanley Milgram's studies on obedience, male subjects under an experimental's control were dramatically less willing to inflict injury as the victims became closer to subjects under study. So, Milgram's famous experiments showed that people are less willing to cause harm when they can actually see or hear the victim. Proximity increases your empathy, right? In contrast, the consequences of actions became more remote, such as by pressing a switch which released a bomb or an unforeseen or an unseen unknown populace. It became easier to inflict injury. However, when the harm is distant, when the harm is abstract, like you're just pressing a button, it to drop a bomb. It's easy for you to disconnect from the people, disconnect from the consequences, and you can carry such act with less guilt. Okay, now let's do the questions. Consider the main points that the author makes throughout the passage. The primary purpose of this passage is to, first one, speculate on the symbolism of the physician as healer. Now, speculation, not really, the author is not speculating if this is right or this is right. They are just putting a point of view, right? And again, symbolism of the physician as healer. You're not speculating things, you're just putting two different point of views. So we are eliminating this because of the word speculate. I hope. And also, the symbolic image of physicians is discussed, but it is not the primary purpose. The primary purpose is completely different. The mercy killing part, the euthanasia part, where you are okay supporting that idea, but you're not willing to perform it. Portray those doctors who argue against administering euthanasia as hypercritical. See, again, this option is wrong because I agree that the author here raises the questions of hypocrisy, but it does not portray doctors as hypocrites. He says that it is very hypocritical. Dr. Angel's perspective is that, but it does not condemn one side, it presents one side. Portraying is something like you're saying doctors are hypocriticals, they are hypocrites, but they are just presenting a viewpoint. He just quoted Mr. Angel, who said it is hypocritical. So we are eliminating this option as well. Cast and explain the different arguments surrounded euthanasia. We'll keep it now because again euthanasia का discussion हुआ है कि why mercy killing is wrong or why it is right or जो support करते हैं they should actually act on it or what designated killers are. There are different arguments that are presented. We'll keep this for now on hold. Introduce the concept of designated killer to receptive audience. Very little part, not the primary purpose at all. Convince doctors to take up euthanasia. You don't know. The author is just presenting arguments from here and there. That is up to you. He's not trying to convince. He's not trying to convince. He's not trying to portray something. He's not speculating something. Or he's not introducing just one concept of designated killer. So all of this is wrong, and C is your answer. According to passage, which of the following is most likely to be true of those physicians who favor the creation of so-called designated killers? They believe it is good patient care to provide a continuum of services. Now, so this argument is made by Dr. Angel in reference to, uh, those uh, in reference to the mercy killing as part of the patient care and not the designated killers. This comes into picture when we are talking about the, this one, mercy killing. When we are talking about the mercy killing, then this one comes into picture, and this has been quoted by Dr. Angel, right? Also, again, not our, this one, will eliminate. So they seek to keep the physician removed from acts of harm. Which of the following is most likely to be true of those physicians who favor this designated killing? They seek to keep the physicians remote from acts of harm. Again, true, because they do not want to perform the act, but they support the idea. Will hold on to this because it is little bit true. They understand that it raises a conflict with their opinions on capital punishment. It does not conflict their opinion, but it conflicts because they support this. They're not willing to act. It does not raises conflict with their opinions. It raises conflicts on their image of being a healer. So this one is wrong. They fear abuse of the privilege that comes from the unique role. No, they just don't want to do it क्योंकि उनकी image खराब हो गई. They are emotionally weak is very stupid, argument. So B is your answer. I hope this is clear. Any doubts? Anyone? B is your answer. Okay. Moving on to the third one, right? According not necessarily to the author, but to those in favor of euthanasia specifically, what is a potentially negative aspect of the use of designated killers? That they would misuse their this one authority. And also that doctors are best because if something goes wrong, they know what's the best thing to do, right? They would disrupt the continuum of patient care provided by a physician. Okay, will not eliminate because they would actually disrupt the continuum of the patient care which has been provided by this one. Because, uh, removing physicians from the act would actually disrupt the entire patient care. क्योंकि जिसको बेस्ट पता है कि क्या करना है पेशेंट के लिए पेशेंट केयर के लिए तुम उसको ही पिक्चर से हटा रहे हैं. So does not make sense. So we'll hold on to this. They might release physicians from the association with death. Again, no. This is again irrelevant negative aspect की बात है. ठीक है. That's actually the goal of the designated killers. A negative aspect की बात नहीं है. They might their use might prevent lingering painful deaths. See, this would be a positive outcome. ये तो एकदम opposite है. Prevent nahi, their use might actually add on to this. So completely, wrong option. The prescription of euthanasia may become more prevalent as physicians are removed from their act itself. Again, this is not a negative aspect, won't be viewed as a negative aspect. It will become more prevalent. तो क्या हुआ? They might not be as qualified as the actual doctors. Now, this one, see, the passage, it definitely raises the concern. But again, it does not say they are as qualified or they're underqualified or something. They just say that doctors who have been taking care of them, they know better. Or doctors, when something goes wrong, they might know better because they have been treating that patient, right? But we are not talking about who is more qualified or who is not qualified. So A is your answer. Again, a close call between A and D. Now, fourth one, the reader can conclude that a basic assumption of those in favor of using designated killers is that. What is a basic assumption that we are doing here? The practice would evolve into a readily available medical option. Again, it might become a routine. We don't know. The tone is quite skeptical. And a lot of critics say it's an unsavory option. So we don't know. Very few physicians could be convinced to assume the role and duties. Again, wrong. It can be a consequence of a physician's reluctance, but not the core assumption behind this idea. It's more of an observation than an assumption. And see, physicians would have to be present with the patient in order to conduct euthanasia, nowhere mentioned. So contradicts the entire idea. Physician wants to avoid this. So no, many physicians are reluctant to administer euthanasia because they are not in favor of capital punishment. They are in favor of capital punishment. They completely support. They just don't want to be the ones doing it. Completely opposite. They are eventually complying with the patient's wishes. So the reader can conclude the basic assumption of those in favor of using this is that पेशेंट को भी यही करना है. पेशेंट को भी सफरिंग नहीं चाहिए, उनको भी यही है कि दे शुड डाई. तो इसीलिए डेजिग्नेटेड किलर्स होने चाहिए. सो दिस इज द बेसिक assumption. Option E is your answer. So thank you so much for watching. I guess this is it, and we'll continue with more videos in the upcoming days. Stay tuned, and you can always check out uh, the Prep courses page, and you'll find Prep Ready Cat Mentorship program. It's a well designed course that will give you complete CAT preparation, and there are a lot of materials available. Very unique materials, unique RCs available, unique practice questions of QA and LIDI available, and there will be mock series and very personalized coaching that PrepB will provide. So you can just check out, even in the description box, will attach the links, or else you can just Google, go to the PrepB courses and check out the PrepBuddy CAT courses. And we hope to, onboard you very soon. And just give your best in the CAT journey. I wish you luck. Thank you.